in the red here in Washington. High definition hockey on Versus. Identical lineup, identical starters for the Penguins. Crosby's unit begins with Bill Guerin and Chris Kunitz, and he rushes in on the forecheck right away, and Guerin puts a shot on Varlamov that is turned aside. Kunitz takes his man. Good aggressive start by the Penguins here. Gonchar moving back on defense and reversing it on now for the play back on by Brooks Orpik. Three of the guys that Alexander Ovechkin mentioned to Chris are starting this game for Washington. Matt Bradley, Brooks Laich, and David Steckel. The most impressive line in a game in which there wasn't a lot of scoring, but they contributed a 2-on-1 maybe. A pass ahead. Oh, Guerin with a shot that clipped just off a pad and wide. Great opportunity for the Penguins on this start. Thrown back onto Kunitz, and his shot rattled around in front and bounced on to Bradley. And Bradley is able to lug it back ahead.
Three big hits by the Penguins on their first shift of the hockey game. And it was the third one by Crosby on Green that led to that 2-on-1 opportunity for Billy Guerin.
It is Jurchina behind. Gave it up. Matt Cook tried to play it on. Battled a second time to skip it on for Kennedy. Got out of the way of one hit. Led it back. Scuderi, a shot deflected. In front, Tom Poti looks like he got his stick on that one. And it is flipped on by Scuderi and booted on by Jurchina. Played back on to Sergei Fedorov. Has Ovechkin out there with him and Viktor Kozlov. Dealt one off the boards. Ovechkin couldn't get there because of Scuderi. Now led back for a shot by Fedorov. Oh, and it's directed by Ovechkin on goal and blocked by Fleury. Fed back in, and Scuderi plays it defensively back up for Kennedy, and he's chased down and bumped by Ovechkin. It's turned over again. Kozlov turning with this one and twisting and laying one behind. Scuderi and Ovechkin will battle for this. Cook steps in, Pothier half boards. And then it is Stahl. And a big hit on him by Ovechkin, and another by Cook on Ovechkin. The big hit was the first one, the follow-through, and the warning was the second one. Kennedy, the shot, turned aside by the stick of Varlamov. What a start!
Well, the chance for Ovechkin was really a shot by Fedorov. I believe he fanned on it, but it went right in the direction of the league's leading goal scorer, and he just tried a little backhand redirect, but Fleury perfectly positioned.
Backstrom dropped that one along. It went off Thomas Fleischmann and deeper for Evgeny Malkin. Sailed one that Jurchina got and blasted, and it's knocked down in front, picked up by the Penguins, and scooped back on, and then protected by Gonchar. Thundering crowd chanting, "Let's go Caps," as this is deflected across by Chris Clark, the captain. He's able to step by one. And Clark put one on goal. Fleury reaches out trying to cover, and he is able to.
Breakneck pace to start this hockey game. Alexander Ovechkin's going to have a great opportunity just to the left of Fleury. What an athletic move by Marc-Andre Fleury to get that left pad on it. And Ovechkin, I guess they use a 5-tool player to describe baseball players, Doc, but I'm going to apply it to a hockey player. What doesn't Alexander Ovechkin do?
Top 10 in hits, as well as the scoring leader in goals. Angled on a cross off the stop by Fleury, and outletted ahead for the curl back by Pothier. Is there a Capitals worry going into this game? They won the first one.
The worry is, did they learn their lesson? Talking to their coach, Bruce Boudreau, prior to the game, saying it was probably our worst game of the playoffs to date, game one. We didn't play the way we can. It certainly wasn't a 60-minute effort.
Dealt back on it, it went off of Craig Adams. Taken by Ovechkin and thrown into the catching glove of Fleury. All right, is there a worry for Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh talked the last couple of days about better puck management. You heard Sidney Crosby talk with Christine Simpson about just that prior to the game. Particularly in the offensive zone, they can't turn the puck over because they feel Washington is by far the best team in the NHL in transition with speed, where they activate a fourth attacker. So take care of the puck in the offensive end.
They want to get it there now as Kunitz is banged into, but Crosby came by and yanked one on back. Like it might have been a little dangerous with Brooks Laich there, but now it's tipped back in for Sean Morrison to the Caps defense. Got away from most of that hit of Kunitz, but it's turned back over anyway. Fed in front, oh, and Crosby taken out by the defensive-minded Brooks Laich on a great feed from Bill Guerin. Steckel put it into the glove of Fleury, and he will hold on.
And Crosby looking for perhaps a penalty on the hit from behind when he cruised into that slot area looking for the one-timer on the feed from Guerin. Turnovers in the offensive zone. That's a good forecheck. Two-man, both Kunitz and Guerin. There's the play to the slot area, and on the back check, Brooks Laich going to come in, get his stick in position, disrupt the shot, but it was the body contact from behind that perhaps Crosby was looking for a minor penalty, but none coming.
4 shots Caps, 2 shots Penguins, 4 minutes played, first period, game 2. Ovechkin line is out for Washington. Floated on by Jordan Staal, wanted to get it further and couldn't. Angled on a cross, and it is Big Victor Kozlov trying to go by increasingly large Hal Gill. 6'5" against 6'7" there, and Gill moves back in on Kozlov. Floated onto the back, and Brian Pothier skipped it on back further, but again, it is tipped across now for Tyler Kennedy to bring it on. He's got a trailer and Cooks. Kennedy delays and shot one that was patted away by Varlamov. Ovechkin led it on for Kozlov. Knifed on back and a good defensive play by Gill, and then Ovechkin is bumped by 1 and 2, and then a shoving match with Tyler Kennedy, broken up by the linesman. Well, all right.
Well, you gotta love it when your star players get involved physically. There's no shortage of that. 5th in hits in the playoffs for Ovechkin.
Here's Backstrom moving in, curls the net. Backstrom has Fleischmann near the front, but he has to go play it. Brooks Orpik was there with some aggression, and so it's Gonchar.
And it was Crosby, Doc, that made a real good hit. We mentioned it on Mike Green that led to the 2-on-1 earlier in this period.
A tie-up, and it's foisted away from Fedotenko, carried on by Backstrom, given across for a shot that is deflected up high and out of play. 5:28 entertaining time played in the first period, and look at this.
You want to develop dislike as early in a series as you possibly can. You have tremendous skill level between these two teams, but when the intensity picks up and the physical play is there and one is on the line, and both teams feeling that they can play better hockey than they did in game 1, these are the results you get. The extra push after the whistle, the in-your-face, the face wash, the pushing, shoving, little cross checks. That's the intensity, that's the building of the dislike that you want to get very early in a series. You saw the two coaches, and Bruce Boudreau was wondering about a penalty call. 7 is in the box, and right now there are no Penguins there. And so a power play will begin for Pittsburgh. Oh, now we have Brooks Orpik there. The referees want to make sure they have a handle on this, but it appears there's going to be 2 Caps who will go to the penalty box. And yes, Pittsburgh will have the man advantage, and this is another area of their game Pittsburgh has to improve on.
Over their last 17 with the man advantage, not good enough.
A 10% rating on their power play. Well below Penguin standards, not only this year, but for 2 decades. Played on now to Malkin. Fed one past Crosby. Retrieved, though, and kept alive by Gonchar, who plays a lot. Here's Malkin out in front, and the shot is blocked off by Varlamov. Rebound, and that went into some skates. Dug out and cleared.
Good move to the net. Malkin took that puck from the goal line, had a short, tight lane to the glove side of Varlamov.
It is Malkin trying to get in. Played on now by Crosby. Malkin set it up. Gonchar, big blast, and it deflected off Varlamov to the glass. Gonchar played all 10 minutes of power play time for the Penguins in game 1. Walks this one across, looks over to Malkin, and gave it there. Return. Side of the net is Crosby as they work to the outside. Pretty deliberate here. Gonchar yet again. Fanned out back to him by Letang, and a shot deflected, chopped in!
It looked as though Varlamov had it at the start, but it was poked home, and it's 1-0 Penguins on a power play goal. And it's going to be Crosby that finds this rebound and slips it under and through the legs of the Washington goaltender. They went into that umbrella formation out high with Gonchar in the middle. The one-timer, he has enough of a lane. Varlamov gets a piece of it, but there is a rebound. Second chance opportunities.
On the power play, paid dividends. Again, this was something that was a real concern for Danny Bosma and the Pittsburgh Penguins. We need to get our power play a lot more effective. Yes, we want production, but it has to be more effective. We have to generate offense, number one, create chances, simplify that power play, get some points on goal. And look for second chance opportunities in Crosby.
Sixth of the playoffs, second power play goal, and again, as in game one, Crosby has led off the scoring. Kozlov tried for Ovechkin, knifed down, and a good play by Scuderi, but a high stick. So the Caps go 5 against 4 here in Ovechkin. Tried to play it across, blocked by Matt Cook and carried out by Maxime Talbot. And Talbot with the shot that's sticked away by Varlamov. Backstrom will be up front on this once they get it going. Thomas Fleischmann as well. Swirling is Victor Kozlov, taking it as Backstrom, gave it on to Fleischmann. And then Backstrom. Mike Green is the other attacker on this power play. He'll man the right point position. Right now, Ovechkin's at the left. Sent back over for Green to handle. Then to Ovechkin. Slung one in front, deflected and hopped wide. Lifted on back right to Ovechkin. Laid it across to Green again. Kozlov drifts near the front of the net as it's played to Backstrom, then to Ovechkin. Left it behind, punched it across, got some help to recover. Kozlov defended well by Matt Cook, and it carried right around in front. Hal Gill pitches it back down.
Cook doing a nice job being as aggressive as he can. Good decision making. You have to be passive when a player has possession of the puck. He's looking right at you. But the minute he has some trouble, jump on him and attack, and that's exactly what Cook was able to do on 2 occasions.
Gonchar with a hit on Kozlov and the clear by Mark Eaton. Usually when you're in the lair of the home team that's leading a series, you expect them to come right at you in the first 10 minutes or so. But again, as in game one, it was Pittsburgh that came out so aggressive.
And that's surprising, too, because Washington, of their 22 goals in the postseason, 10 have come in the first period.
This battle for and a kick back on to Sergei Fedorov. Lays it on back to Green. Ovechkin across to Fedorov. 17 left on the power play. Sergei Fedorov dealt it in. Fed across to Ovechkin. Stopped there by Fleury and cleared back out.
Second big-time stop by Fleury on Ovechkin here in the first 8-9 minutes of this period.
2 shots on goal in the power play. Ovechkin wipes out, gets back up, and swings one in front that was blocked aside by Hal Gill. Lifted along and away from the reach of Dave Steckel, and it's Green. And taken away by Stahl. Stahl circles, wheels, and shoots one that was blocked in front. Steckel laid it back out, and a good bit of stick work by Letang on Chris Clark, so this escapes back for the 10 to Eaton. Kept alive by Matt Bradley. Nudged on a cross, and it is chopped by Chris Clark, but into a defender, and then just slung back to center. Morrison then off. Off of Bradley, dumped further. Pothier takes it there. Sidesteps the forecheck of Crosby. Ahead to Steckel. Escapes up the wing and moves in. Taken down. What's the call? No signal. It's a trip.
Well, Pittsburgh wanted to argue before the call was even finished by the official because they thought that Letang got this puck first before there was any kind of trip. Long distance breakout pass. Steckel finds open space in the neutral zone. That long, powerful stride. Letang with the dive. Keep your eye on stick. Does it get the puck first? It sure appears that way. Difficult call to make. It happened so quickly. Get a look at it from our Domino's goal cam. Wow.
They had 2 shots on the last one. This is cleared back down by Rob Scuderi. Right through Varlamov, and so it is Stahl deliberating there. Gentle collision with Ovechkin. By Ovechkin standards, that is. Carried ahead now by Alexander Semin, given on to Thomas Fleischmann. The hero of game 1 had the winning goal. Rattled around, and it's Fleury to take it. Slings it back around, and it's Green back to the point. Unable to fish it along was Green. Good challenge came there from Stahl, and now he comes to the bench for replacement. Past the halfway point of the first period. Shots are 8-6 in favor of the Penguins. They lead on Crosby's power play goal from Gonchar and Letang at 6:38.
Your goaltender has to be your best penalty killer on most nights, Doc. But Fleury made a great play of handling the wraparound and going right off the glass. And that allowed Stahl to be in position to force the right point and get the turnover.
This is Green handing on to Fleischman now. Fleischman holding, dealing it back in. Sent across to Ovechkin, and that one wouldn't go either. And it is cleared back out again by Craig Adams.
Second backdoor play. First one, Ovechkin got it clean. Been robbed by Fleury. That one, not as clean.
What hard work by Talbot, turned back to him by Dupuis, and then lost for the carry ahead by Backstrom. Has light breaking. Backstrom holds, lays it back to Ovechkin. Shunted one across on the bounce for Semin. Rolled off the hit of Orpik and is able to deal it back further. Now they settle it down a bit. Half a minute to go power play. They try to work it across and it kicked back over to Orpik and he cleared it off the stick of Tom Cody and down.
The Penguins, anytime they have a chance for possession while killing a penalty, everything is hard. They're clearing attempts, hard off the glass, hard off the wall.
Sergei Fedorov grips on. Laid a pass out for a shot. It's struck away by Fleury. The first shot of the power play was a strong save from Fleury. To the outside Fedorov. 3 to go power play. Pothier gives it back to him again. Fedorov a blast and it went wide. Right out of the box to take it and carry in is Letang all alone. No! He got the glass on the backhand. What a game. Under 8 minutes to go in the first. Peter Sikorin on the forecheck. Tries to cancel with Pothier. Feverishly working away. Coming by is Gordon. And Gordon was able to get there and tip it on to Eric Fair.
The dangers of missing the net on a power play because you're thinking offense or you're thinking goal, and that puck carried all the way to Letang right out of the box.
Gordon is taken out by Eaton. Oh, and Fedotenko sends a man flying. That was Eric Fair, a big man for Washington. Played back ahead now by Orpik and back down. No icing here. Well, why not? Let's keep it going. 7 1/4 to go in the first. Skipped back ahead. Carried on by Chris Clark. Tries to go by Scuderi. No luck there, but it's Light with it. Twirling and Crosby on him. Clark denied. Good defensive work by Letang. Hard work by Crosby. Skipped away from Clark. Reached by Steckel. Taken out of his hand was the stick, and that'll be a penalty. The elbow, the retaliation to his captain, Chris Clark. And so it's 4 aside. You're a teammate of his at one time, right?
We played the American League for the Baltimore Skipjacks together. Actually had a nice long postseason run back in '85. Unfortunately, we lost to the Canadiens Farm Club, which was Sherbrooke. And a bunch of those guys went on to Montreal to win the Stanley Cup the next year in '86, led by a guy named Patrick Waugh.
Stephane Richer would have been coming along about that time, too, right? Here is Malkin trying to get through. Chopped that by Semin. Freed up, but Crosby breezes right onto Malkin. And Malkin with a backhander that just ricocheted off the glass. Pretty good short side try by Evgeny Malkin. Dan Bilesma said this morning that he had talked to Malkin. He said, really, all he has to do is just play the way that he usually does. Doesn't have to score a goal every time. Just has to contribute the way he did last game. He had an assist in the contest game 1. Here's Ovechkin feeding one that's right on the tape of the puck carrier in that stall. Rips back on with Tyler Kennedy.
Yeah, Bilesma using the phrase, we just want Malkin to play the right way.
Ovechkin a shot off the glove of Fleury and poked along by Gonchar. Nudge back ahead and it's Stahl. Close calls all a part of this and part of the fun. We hope you're enjoying it tonight on Versus. Guys back at Hockey Central will be coming along as well during the intermission, but that's a long time away. 5:20 to go in the first. The shots are 8 apiece. 1-0 the Penguins. 25 seconds left on the coincidental penalties. And Ovechkin lobbed it around behind. Boyd Gordon. The install battle. Reaching in is Gonchar. Coming by is Ovechkin. Stahl emerged and played it back up for Dupuis. Chopped it on further and darted after it and got there. Dupuis threw one off the goal stick held by Varlamov. Played back along to the outside yet again by the Penguins. Both teams have gotten a man back, full strength action here. It is tapped onto Dupuis, led one in front that came back to the point. Eat with a shot, turned aside. side by Varlamov. Dug out by Fedotenko. Handed on back to Letang. Letang a shot and trying to jab it toward the net, but getting it to the corner was Dupuis.
Good action in the offensive zone. Pittsburgh, good skating legs, good rotation offensively, trying to get a 5-man attack going. And again, it's that puck management in the offensive zone where they're not turning it over.
Fedotenko brought it ahead and is walled to the corner by Urchino. Boy, he has been a hitting force in these playoffs for the Capitals. Is that a part of his MO as a defenseman?
Well, you'd like it to be, and it's just all about being consistent in that area. Some nights you just don't have 100% physical and are able to play as physical as you would like to be. You deal with those bumps and bruises and the injuries and the aches and pains, and you try to pick your spots on some night, but it's all about consistency in every department of your game.
Puck held by Varlamov. 3:42 to go, first period. Off this tie-up, it is kicked along and set up now for them to control. Gonchar hands on to Letang, and it is lost. Came loose to Crosby, held back along to Malkin. Evgeny Malkin gives it back to Gonchar. Walked it over and handed for the one-timer by Letang that's blocked right back out again. And Crosby pitched one along that Letang was able to grab and keep in play. But then it's cleared back out. Gaining the zone, Malkin. Feathers it over for the carry by Gonchar. Forehander, shrugged down and then covered by Varlamov.
Slick little play by Evgeny Malkin right at the offensive blue line. Quick turnaround in the neutral zone once the Capitals cleared their zone, but Pittsburgh working much better with the man advantage here tonight. Already have a power play goal by Sidney Crosby, and they counterattack quickly, and Gonchar took a nifty little pass from Malkin, had a quality scoring chance.
Off it comes for Gonchar. Kept it alive to Malkin. Dropped it on to Crosby. Guerin at the front inside the box. Gonchar feeds it back. Crosby has it there. Crosby dealing further to Malkin. Then back to Gonchar. Then Malkin. Dropped it across. Letang set it up. Gonchar wanted the one-timer but had to stop it first. Given on to Malkin. Back to Gonchar. In Pittsburgh, they're yelling shoot. A penalty coming up. It'll be against the Caps. Letang a shot, save, Varlamov, Malkin a shot, and the whistle had blown the call as a trip. It'll be a 5-on-3 for 46. In the series against Philadelphia, the Penguins were 1 for 3 on 5-on-3s, and that one was an overtime winner. The bouncer came right out and is collared.
But when your power play was struggling the way it was, maybe that's something you have to take a look at.
Good point. Hadn't thought about all those trips down the ice to retrieve pucks. As they look to set up Malkin here. Billy Guerin holding for the Penguins. Kunitz at the front, Malkin, then to Guerin. Fed it to Crosby, and he couldn't get it home off the pipe. Another shot off the glove of Varlamov. Fed by Crosby, dumped around and off his stick, and it sails up high and out of play. So if there wasn't in the prior series or in game one, there is now. Malkin fanned on the shot, and it's cleared. 2 seconds and 1, and now Poti is out. It's a 5-on-4 for a minute and 10 seconds. Crosby chases it down. Matt Bradley defending him. Urchino got a piece of it, but it's fed on back now to Gonchar. Swoops in and lets it go. Deflected, it went wide. Bill Guerin with it there. There's a broken stick quickly retrieved by Matt Bradley from the bench. And he's able to shuttle this one back out on the pass from Poti and then carry it on. Matt Bradley fires a shot that is snagged by Fleury and put back into play with 40 to go on his team's power play and 1:05 left in the first. Gonchar to Kunitz. Defended, good challenge that came from Poti. Malkin to the bench. Replaced by Peter Sikora. Puck carried by Gonchar, fed on to Kunitz with Sikora breaking to the net. Kunitz fed it around behind, and it's handled by Stahl. Stahl bumped by Morrison. Morrison tumbles down. Fans want a penalty. Doesn't mean they should have one, but they want one. 5 shots on goal on that power play for the Penguins. It's killed. Full strength. Ovechkin danced by, tumbled to the ice, got a shot on goal that was blocked, and then another try by Backstrom. And hanging on is Fleury. Whistle blows, but the action hasn't stopped. the scrum. It's poked on to Scuderi. He has been very sure-handed in these first 2 games. This directed back out to the last 5. Scuderi yet again lobbed it on. Talbot through the legs. Hurrying is Cook. Cook with a shot at the horn, blocked by Green.
Of course, Ovechkin, he too all over the ice in that first period. Anytime he crosses that blue line, he gets in between those dots. Expect him to shoot the puck. He had 5, and he was physical. I had him for more than 1 hit, but he was involved physically as well as all around the puck.
No carryover penalties nor power plays at the outset of the second as Fleury blocked that one behind and then cradled it and dealt it almost into trouble, but taken by Kunitz. Laid ahead for the flying Crosby. Moves ahead with Bill Guerin, and Crosby's shot is steered wide by the reach of Mike Green. Played back by Steckel. Up for grabs, and so Kunitz says yes and tried to center, but that didn't work. Came back on now for Brooks Light. Crisply on to Bradley. Angled wide and burrowing in was Steckel, closed off though by Gonchar. Sergei Gonchar has been impressive. He played 10 minutes, 17 seconds of that first period, over half, and all of the power play time in the series for Pittsburgh so far, 4:30 in the first. Laid back ahead now for the carry on by Backstrom, and the shot is blocked high by Fleury. Carried around behind eventually, could be played by Letang, but good work on him by Backstrom. And kicked on by Fleischmann. Backstrom tried to return it. Fleischmann reaching in, close quarters to Backstrom yet again. Through the legs pass by Cook. Might have picked up from Crosby in practice one day. Backstrom tried to work further, and that careen behind for Fleury to reverse, but Backstrom got there first. Centered one in front, 7. Oh, and sliding in front was Mark Eaton. Eaton steps to that one. Turned it back along, and Cook had it taken away by Pothier. Flipped back, but Letang got it. Dumped one back out, and Pothier out there with Tyler Stone on defense. Played 6 shifts in the first period in his exciting debut in the NHL at age 28. Congratulations to him.
Some careless play by Pittsburgh in their own zone led to that opportunity. Forced Eaton to dive back, feet first, right in front of Fleury to protect that goal.
Malkin sends it on to Hal Gill. Brings it from 90 and blasts it on goal, and it deflected off of Varlamov. Touch back on and can be carried back out. Fedorov swung it. Kozlov across shot, score! Ovechkin!
What was Pittsburgh going to be worried about tonight? Speed in transition from the Washington Capitals. Fedorov, great speed through the neutral zone, draws 2 checkers towards him. That's going to open up the middle of the ice. Kozlov takes the short pass. That's good puck support. Effective 10, 12-foot passes, and then it opens up the far side of the ice.
Ovechkin, the one-timer, perfect play. 3 terrific passes up ice into the offensive zone. Good things result, especially when you have the skill level of the Washington Capitals. Ovechkin, the finisher.
Fedorov gets the secondary assist, Kozlov the primary. And Sergei Fedorov is now 15th all-time in playoff points. He has just passed a legend named Mario Lemieux.
173 points now in the postseason for Fedorov. Of course, if you were watching Game 7 in round 1, you saw vintage Fedorov, game-winning goal, short side, over the glove hand of Lundqvist. That was the game winner. And he sets the offense in motion here in period number 2 to set up Ovechkin.
Dupuis a shot blocked right out in front by Varlamov. Taken along by Max Talbot. Waving at the point, wanting it as Eaton as it's thrown in front. Paddled away by Varlamov again. Pinching was Eaton. Playing is Pothier. Protecting himself that time, but seeing some help come was fair. Ragged free and brought back in by Ovechkin, and a shot! Oh, a rocket was wide! Chris Clark tried to play further, did not work. Clark continues to work along the boards with Eaton and got possession. Interceding, though, was Talbot, held by Pothier and lofted right back to the corner. Through the legs pass is directed away from Clark. and cleared out of play, and it's a minor.
Well, the Penguins are hoping to have a couple of strong shifts after giving up the tying goal from Alexander Ovechkin. They had some offensive zone presence, but not enough.
Back on the power play. Dupuis gets the delay of game penalty. Ovechkin stoked it on back for Green. Backstrom and Semin are a part of this as well. Played across to Fleischmann, tried to chip it on through, touched around behind, and it's Semin to get it there. Scaled for Ovechkin, dealt for Backstrom, twisted onto Fleischmann, and Fleischmann just holds now, dealing it back across for Semin again. Semin fed it across, Green there, and a shot off the tip of the glove, and then tumbling into Fleury was Fleischmann. Green cycled it on, and it's played back on by Fleischmann. Little tip onto Backstrom, wanting to get by, but no, says Orpik. Fed onto the point now to Green. Gives it across. One-timer by Fleischmann, or by Ovechkin, sorry. Is grabbed out of the air by Fleury.
Incidental contact, good non-call.
Another shot by Ovechkin that popped up high. Call those out, guys, just like Little League. Here is Kozlov dealing it back in. A feed back over for Kozlov. A shot is shrugged away by Fleury. He seemed to want Laich with the pass a lot, but Laich was just not getting open at the right time. So this is Fedorov delaying. Back for Green, and a shot deflected wide by Rob Scuderi on defense. Then along to Laich, but it's booted along by Gill. Circle to the outside now once again, and played back on for a feed by Laich. Battling is Kozlov, and he's able to take it and send it back to Ovechkin. 25 to go power play. Green turned it back onto Kozlov again. He's got Laich behind, and Ovechkin decides on Alexander. Blocked off by Talbot. Taken along and twisted by Kozlov, who gets it back again. 12 to go power play. Around behind, could not be reached by Gill. Shoved on to Green. Ovechkin, one-time shot. Blocked away by Talbot. Skipped right back on again for Semin on the delay. Lobbed on for Fedorov, and a shot was spiked wide on a try in front by Brooks. Laich, penalty box is empty. Back to the point, it's played by Poti. Given across, Fedorov a shot. Held by Fleury, and play is stopped. The arsenal, you were talking about the five things you talk about with a baseball player, the real tool set, but every time Alexander gets ready to shoot, you wonder if, first of all, is he going to shoot? And what type of shot will it be? Position will be good, that's for sure. And here's Crosby delaying and getting some space, swaggering for some more. Tried to chip one in front, and it's bounced down and shrugged down by the defense and eventually dealt and back out.
And the last part of that, Doc, is where is that shot going? There's no telegraph when it comes to Ovechkin.
We shouldn't underestimate him. We figure he knows. But this is laid back across for the carry-on by Boyd Gordon. Shook one ahead further for Steckel. Reached there by Eaton. Played on by Crosby. Gotten by Letang. 13 minutes, 40 seconds to go. Second period of a tie game. Not a tie series. Caps took the first one Saturday afternoon, 3-2. Since '94, when conference setups were made for the second round, all of it out of the conference. This is carried ahead by Sikora and dropped onto Malkin. Malkin a shot, looking behind him, Varlamov, but he has it.
We are tied here at 1 in Washington. Well, Alex Ovechkin, of course, is the reigning MVP of the NHL. Last month, he met the NBA's MVP. LeBron James just named MVP today. Alex presented him with one of his signed jerseys. Well, on the eve of this series, King James returned the favor by giving Alex one of his jerseys with the message to Alexander the Great. Keep up the great work, King James. Mike, from one MVP to another.
I guess. Of course, there's more to be said about that at another time, perhaps, as this is dealt back in for Malkin. Malkin duels there with Fleischmann. Peels away. Evgeny Malkin slid it back now to Gonchar, walked it and shot it right on goal, and flexed back out again by Varlamov.
Looked like Fedotenko got a piece of that one, Doc.
Yes, very good deflection and a good answer by Varlamov there. Carried back out by Backstrom, and he's just forced back by the checking of Fedotenko. Slides this up to Fleischmann. A spinorama move. Somewhere Serge Savard is smiling. Or Dennis Savard, or any Savard. Andre Savard, Mark Savard. That's right. Take a guy that's in these playoffs now. Along with this is Malkin. Just mentioning, we've never had a set of conference semifinals before where all 4 of them have been one each after the first 2 games. Never happened in history. Could if the Penguins win this game tonight, because the others are set through 2. This directed back in, and so it is Fleury to stop as the weaving of change continues at both benches. Stahl and Cook are among the Penguins out there right now, and Tyler Kennedy gliding along as Fedorov with Kozlov and Ovechkin. Brought in by Kozlov with an opening, fanned on the shot. Kozlov yet again, fed one in front, shot, oh, and swiping at it but not getting it from the Fedorov shot was Fleury. Out in front again, and Kozlov wheels, can't get the shot away, stripped right away from him in a brilliant defensive move by Jordan Stahl, who gains the zone. Stahl a shot into the catching glove of Varlamov.
Opportunities at both ends of the ice, working across the blue line. Sergei Gonchar, in order to get a shooting lane. It's an effective, quick little snapshot, get a good ice-level view of the redirect by Fedotenko. And then Kozlov, who earlier had a chance, try to feed the puck to Ovechkin coming late the opposite side. Couldn't find him. That time he found Fedorov. And that quick release by Fedorov tried to beat Fleury high to the glove side. Just a little too high.
Mark Eaton takes this behind. Crosby ahead. Has Kunitz and Bill Guerin out there with him. Dealt back in by Letang. Guerin played it back. Crosby couldn't take. Up to Guerin again. Swung one in front. Up for grabs and spun along by Kunitz, and a backhander deflected high. Crosby dueling around behind with Boyd Gordon. Came over to Morrison. Kunitz got in the way there and shoved it on back for Letang's drive that's blocked away by Varlamov. Hooked along by Crosby for Letang again. Little back pass, Guerin drive, deflected off of Varlamov and hopped to the corner. The offense is starting to show for both teams, but it's a low-scoring game. Guess the goalies are pretty good. Semin brings it ahead. Semin protects and wheels around behind. Shoots one that's blocked by Fleury. Waiting for it is Green. Lets it go. Kicked out. Another shot. Oh, and Fleury, a great save on Brooks Light. Too early to give out the 3 stars, I guess, isn't it? I think I know 2. Going back with this now is Poppy. And then Sloan. Calgarian plays it back ahead for the carry-on by David Steckel. Denied by Scuderi. And Scuderi plays it back out again, and in stride to take it on now is Talbot. Talbot a shot off the glove of Varlamov into the glass.
You knew that shot was going to go high because Talbot pushed that puck a little too far in front of himself and didn't have the necessary leverage to control the puck.
Thank you both, and thanks to both coaches, Bruce Boudreau and Dan Bylsma. Bruce Boudreau's first job coaching was in Muskegon, Michigan. He was looking for players, and he said, boy, if I can get this one guy. He is born in Muskegon. What a great thing to have a local guy. The guy was Dan Bylsma. And Dan Bylsma said, no, I've got another contract here that I have to honor, so I can't come to Muskegon. So now he's playing for Los Angeles, Bylsma is. The coach at their farm team in Springfield is Bruce Boudreau. They send this guy down for conditioning. He said he played 2 games for me. He played with great heart. He blocked shots. We don't often see that when guys are sent down from the NHL on conditioning. He showed me a lot. Brought ahead now by Crosby. Crosby laid it back, but behind Brooks Orpik, and so having to cover now is Gonchar. Delaying is Crosby. Lobbed back in, and it's Green. Off the glove of Kunitz. Crosby at the front of the net. It's rifled across. Bill Guerin off the board. Has Gonchar, decides to flip one that came in front. Crosby score!
2-1 Pittsburgh. Some of the early lessons you get at any level of hockey is if you hang around the front of the net, the puck eventually will come there. That's where the goals are scored. And that's where Crosby hangs out. He's trying to position for any kind of shot from the point by Billy Garrett. The puck pinballs around a little bit on its way to the Washington goal. And Crosby with his great agility, puck skills.
Good feet, good hands, all on display on that goal. He's just hanging around the top of the crease. He gets inside position on Mike Green. His second of the night, the seventh of the playoffs, and Pittsburgh has wrestled the lead back away from Washington.
The marquee guys have lived up to their posting on the outside of the building. Crosby with 2 goals, Ovechkin with 1. In the series, Crosby with 3, Ovechkin with 2, and Ovechkin with the puck coming back on to try and even it up on the scoreboard, shooting one that is blocked away and played by Viktor Kozlov. Wheels around and gave it on over for a toss to the front, driving to the net. This time was Ovechkin. Now it's Pothier off the leg of Matt Cook. Fedorov delaying there. Pushed it in front, and Hal Gill had good protection and control of this puck. Fans booing at the announcement of the goal. We'll get the assist for you here in a moment as Kozlov leads ahead to Ovechkin. Ovechkin a shot, and it's towed away by the blade of Marc-Andre Fleury.
Well, we got a good one going, Doc, and it's the star power that's been the most effective and the most productive. Crosby got it started with a power play goal. The power play was a question mark for Pittsburgh. It needed to be addressed. They worked on it this morning. They get early dividends, and then a beautiful rush in transition with speed. Washington, Ovechkin with the one-timer, but Crosby answers back here. He answers the Ovechkin goal with his second of the night. Pittsburgh on top with just over 8 minutes to go here in period 2.
Jurchina's stick fails him. It's taken on by Backstrom. Spun one that was directed well wide and handled by Tom Poti. Fleischmann plays it on. In his way as Fedotenko flexed it back out to center, chopped on by Poti, brought further by Malkin. Took the hit, got the pass across, but it's lobbed back out again by Green. Diving play by Fleischmann, but it is cut and started ahead by Talbot again. Talbot surrounded, moves in, gave it side of the net. On Malkin is stoned by Varlamov out in front. On while falling, Fedotenko's shot glanced into Green. Ahead they come in a 4-on-2 now. Talbot gets back. It's Backstrom a shot, and it got the glass. Now it's the Penguins' turn. Fedotenko moves up along with Malkin. Change is being made at the benches. We get an offside call with 7:22 to go. And
got a little help from Green, but he was diving desperately back. You have to be athletic. You have to have a good hockey IQ and read the play. This guy's got very little NHL experience, keep in mind.
Turns to the outside now, does Brooks Laich of his team. Gave it on back to Jurchina and back in. A teenager started into the final of the Russian Elite League. Goaltender of the team that lost, but not without a big battle. That's how he gained his stripes in Russia. Offside.
In game 1, he's looking to improve on that here in game 2.
Eric Staal is second. Staal of the Carolina Hurricanes, he's got 37. Here's Ovechkin trying to build on that total and try and get his team back even in the game. It is Kozlov laying one ahead, nicely spiked down by Hal Gill. Crisply ahead now for Sikora, run to the ditch by Pothier, brought on by Staal, and a shot fought off by Varlamov. Taken around by Cook out front. Oh, it's Staal! Stoned by Varlamov without a stick. Shot wide. Staal tries again. Loose puck, side of the net. Diving out and covering is Varlamov.
Without his stick in his hand.
And he had to use that block and a reach behind the goal line and settle things down. Washington scrambling in their own end because of the pressure of the Staal line. Cook goes hard to the net. That creates problems on the rich shot by Staal. Sikora's there. Staal with a second chance opportunity. Good strength of stick by Sloan to prevent a rebound chance for Staal. But the pressure, this is what Dan Bosman's looking for. We need more offensive zone time, and he got it right there with good pressure. One problem, though, difficult time. Beat the young goaltender in the Washington net. Taking a deep breath, Jordan Staal at the bench. Malkin in on this face-off with Backstrom.
Caps prevail, 6 1/4 to go, second period. We hope you're enjoying this one tonight on Versus. We sure are. 25 shots Penguins, 23 shots for the Capitals. Two primary farm teams in Wilkes-Barre and Hershey are playing in a similar second-round series. And that is 2-0 Hershey, Washington's farm team, over the Wilkes-Barre Penguins. But they're going into Wilkes-Barre now. Good shoulder work there by Semin. Deflected on a cross and has to be played by Poti. Offside is on a delay and wiped. Orpik's pass. Deflected off and punched high. Grabbed by Fedotenko. And thrown on goal and a save by Varlamov on Adams. Malkin gave it back along. Filtered further by Adams. Fedotenko bumped there as Morrison got in his way, but he got the puck and swung one that's knocked down in front. Another try, and it came back to the corner, and Morrison after it, but turning with it now is Malkin again. Warming to the task, here's Orpik, swinging one in front. That had to be turned aside by Varlamov, and the shot total continues to climb. Little over 5 minutes to go. Malkin up with it now. Crosses, backhander is grabbed and held by Varlamov.
There is scoring. Both Kunitz and Guerin should figure in on the second Crosby goal. The other facet of Pittsburgh's attack was their power play, and they score a power play goal tonight on the first Crosby goal. There's some good things happening for Pittsburgh here in game 2.
Bradley fed one through. Steckel tried to get it through, could not. Good defensive play made there by Letang. Now a try by Bradley, pinball back out, and is controlled by the Penguins, and Letang able to rush it ahead to Kunitz. Tipped across for Guerin, and Guerin moves in with Morrison. Good crunch on Morrison by Guerin. He got the secondary assist, and as you were predicting, Kunitz got the first one on the goal by Crosby. Steffel, big man, trying to battle a smaller man. Letang, it's put on goal and stopped by Fleury. Played on back now to Brian Pothier. Pothier with a shot. That ricocheted on back. Covered by Sloan. Hit shot, side net, Steffel score!
Well, the Steckel line may have been the most consistent line for Washington in game 1. And they're going to tie the hockey game. Nice little move out high by Brian Pothier to change the position of the shot. And even though Eaton blocks that fourth attempt, there's some drifting going on in front of the goal by Pittsburgh. Now there's a breakdown in coverage.
Ovechkin reacting to the tying goal. He's all about team. And Steckel, because he's open with the breakdown of coverage by Pittsburgh, able to cash in and tie this hockey game again.
Tyler Sloan's father, Fred, was in Hershey the last 3 weeks watching the playoffs. I would assume he came down because it's only a couple of hours, but how proud he must be of the assist on the Steckel goal that tied the game in his son's first game in the Stanley Cup playoffs at age 28. Chipped on by Gill, but an offside is called. 3:33 to go second, and we're back even again.
Hanging in there at the offensive blue line. Sloan's playing the left point, Pothier on the right, and as Pothier moves laterally across the blue line, it would be easy for Sloan to vacate the offensive zone. When he doesn't, he hangs around, and the deflected shot off the shin pads of Eaton ends up in his neighborhood. He keeps the play alive.
Pothier got the other assist. Sloan the primary on Steckel's second. That has tied it up again. Every coach needs a reliable line. It may not be his most prominent when it comes to point, but one he can count on to get the team started and jacked up again. And it is that line that included Steckel. Here is Clark trying to short side one by backing in near Fleury, and Fleury trying to hold on as they see how many they can jam into a telephone booth.
Even though he might not be out there with his natural lineman.
Chasing this down is Cody. Reversed onto Urchino. Filtered through for the carry back up ice by Backstrom. Laid it ahead. Carried on by Pody. Pody has Fleischmann and tried for Semin, but he couldn't knock it down and control too well. Still dueling for that with Fedotenko. Semin 2 assists in the first game. Right back in it comes. Ovechkin and Steckel, the goal scorers for the Capitals. Crosby has both for Pittsburgh. Steckel, a goal a game man. Same for Ovechkin, same for Crosby. 5 goals in 3 games for Sydney. Get all access to the Stanley Cup playoffs with the daily pregame show. Experience the portal, On Location Blog Network, and other exclusive content only through the portal at NHL.com.
This was a tough icing call to go against Pittsburgh. Letang had possession of the puck. He wanted to go indirect off the boards. It deflected up the skates of the linesman. Net result was an icing.
So if there's any hockey justice, the Penguins at least clear the zone, which they now have.
Good point.
Sometimes this is not a just game, as you know. Here is Eaton laying it back ahead.
And sometimes it's just a game.
And with it now is Kunitz on back for Guerin. Drive, and that kick back out again by Sean Morrison. Carried up ice by Ovechkin. Nice duel there by Guerin, but then it's taken just that quickly from him by Sergei Fedorov and spun ahead off one of the Penguins' Kunitz. Ovechkin down, arm up. Penalty coming up to the Penguins, and Fedorov delays on this delayed call. Given back on to Semin and sent back out to center. It was a collision at center, Kunitz and Ovechkin. Guerin lobs, Ovechkin directs, moves over with Kunitz again, who laid a little more lumber on him. But it'll be a shorthanded situation for Pittsburgh.
It was a spin pass by, I believe, Fedorov, who tried to go long distance through the neutral zone, and the puck was deflected.
On to that point it comes to Guerin, laid back across again. Very deliberately they worked here, but Orpik stepped in the way of that one and then claws Backstrom down. Light burrowing in as well, and it came free and then is lost to Jordan Staal. Green dropping back, charging up the wing now is Cook, and he flipped a little pass across that went off of Cook after it somehow or other bounced through the defense. 1:12 left in the period. There will be carryover time, barring further penalties or a Washington goal. It is Green. Ovechkin. But Gonchar. Laid ahead. Charging on is Talbot. Closed off with force by Green. 50 left in the period. Adams sent it along. This is Ovechkin again. What'll he do this time? Leads it ahead now for Backstrom. Backstrom double teamed. Ovechkin tried to escape through and tumbled down, and it's lifted back out again by Adams.
Pretty good layers by the Pittsburgh penalty killers. Locating Ovechkin, not allowing him to generate enough speed to hurt you in center ice.
Fedorov spun it. Adams took it. Adams rifled it back down. 15 to go. 36 on the kill. Sergei Fedorov glides ahead. Down to the ice went Ovechkin. Rather acrobatic fashion, trying to get through his stall. No luck there. And that's it.
What has struck you about the second as it followed the first in this game where there were quite a few penalties? Any other thoughts about power plays or?
Well, there'll be a power play to start this period for the Washington Capitals, but I see more and more discipline becoming more and more important here in this third period. And discipline comes in a number of different ways, not just staying out of the penalty box, but it's quality line changes, it's putting pucks in areas where you have a chance to get it back, it's that puck management, and it's understanding when you can take a chance offensively and not put your team in any kind of jeopardy. So make sure you have that third man well positioned, good and responsible. Chances are he'll get the best offensive chance if he's in the right spot.
Penalty time is up, and Mike Green went to the bench saying, "Oh, what a wonderful stick I picked out for this period." It still lies out there as a pass is laid on for Bill Guerin, and Guerin angles one in off the Capital sign, tipped around by Urchina, laid back up the boards and safely back to center. Guerin brought it back with the big blast that is blocked aside by the defense, given back to Guerin again, and a shot on, getting a piece of that. Varlamov sent back by Brooks Orpik, around behind, dug out by Guerin. Once the wrap, little feet in front, and it kicked off a stick and went through the crease wide. Kunitz laid it on. Steckel couldn't stop it. Crosby turned off there by Sloan, but he comes right by, fed it onto the back again. Gonchar with a shot that's deflected wide by Kunitz. Penguins killed off the 20-odd seconds of power play time to the Caps, and now have mustered a pretty good attack in terms of possession and chances of their own here. Gonchar and Orpik. Guerin comes to the bench on a change. Malkin and Fedotenko hopping over the boards, and coming out is Peter Sikora. Carried back up by Fedotenko. Sikora blast, and that one blocked wide. Tom Cody got in the way. Sent along the boards and moving ahead with it is Eaton. Another broken stick out there. Little pass was tried by Malkin that did not work. Fedotenko just held up by Light.
That was Sikora's stick that broke on that slap shot attempt. He had in a pretty good area to shoot the puck.
Letang a shot, and that blocked aside. I know you didn't retire just yesterday, but did you ever use a composite?
No.
All wood.
Yep.
Never had this kind of problem, did you? Case closed. Meanwhile, except for the stick companies, here's Ovechkin moving in, shooting one that is snagged and held by Fleury. And it went out of play, so they can start the original guys all over again.
We'll let the gamesmanship begin. The shot by Ovechkin, the follow through to the net. Short little conversation between Ovechkin and Fleury.
Peeling off is Scuderi. Punched on though. Scuderi must retreat the play away from Fedorov. Gives it on to Hal Gill. 6'7", 250-pound defenseman has to follow through yet again. And Scuderi. Directed back by Kennedy, but out of play. Take a look at our Ask.com trivia question. Which Penguin goalie has the most playoff wins? Get the answer at Ask.com. We go back through Cam Newton, Les Minkler, Al Smith. He certainly had the most penalties. Probably one of the more entertaining Penguin goalies to watch. A goaltender that even Battleship Bob Kelly could not. But that was the days of the Roosevelt administration. So we must get to modern eras here.
In my days in Pittsburgh, I played with the likes of Michel Dion and Denny Herron, Roberto Romano.
Billy Malash, the goaltending coach, is another one. Along with this Penguin team currently. But this is carried ahead by Matt Cook in a 2-2 tie. Game 2, best of 7. Caps took the first one 3-2. Pretty good hit on Green by Matt Cook. The ex-Cap Cook able to trickle it along to Crosby. Crosby able to step behind. Looks for Guerin for the drive, and the save made by Varlamov. Cleared back down by Gonchar. Icing. What was Shoeless Joe's line in the movie? Hey, rookie, you were good. Well, this is present tense now. Field of Green. As we look on here at the Penguin bench in this third period. The discipline factor is interesting to me because not having played, I don't know how you resist from popping somebody.
It's difficult to do, and it's something that you work on all year long, and you try to get your players to understand what are the critical times that you have to just bite the bullet. Take a number, you'll get another chance in another game in this series, but not here in the third period of the tie game, especially for Pittsburgh, that really needs a victory.
Gordon with a shot that was slowed. Good hit by Orpik on Chris Clark. Bruce Boudreau was talking somewhat about that earlier in the game to Christine, wasn't he? If we're not going to take stupid retaliatory penalties, we've done it twice. Well, they haven't been penalized since the first. Here's Pody. Light, denied by Letang. Squib back in for Malkin, who would drop back. And then Letang. You hear the glass a lot. Fedotenko a shot. The take by Sloan. A loose stick causes some trouble, but it comes up to Light, and he played it back for Eaton. Eaton for the Penguins, right back in again. Part of that stick is in the corner now, where a dump-in might reach it. A pass by Malkin, fielded by Sikora, and a shot went wide. Moving in is Eaton. Eaton dumped it behind, Malkin turning there. Malkin flipped one in front, and a scorcher came across where Eaton can play to Fedotenko. Threw one in front, and that guy to decide off a stick. Drive! And that deflected away by Varlamov. Play stopped.
When we do win.
Well, both he and Semin had points in the first game, and were not really viewed as having great games in the first game either. This came on back to the point now, so it's deceptive on the score sheet sometimes. Talbot a shot that kicked on back. Scuderi with it there. Across for Hal Gill, who just touched it to the corner. Pothier came by to get it there. 5.5 played in the third period of this tie game. Kozlov trying to step by. Rushed off and up by Dupuis that the Caps have to recover at center. Then on to Morrison. Banked ahead, and Ovechkin could not really get as much of that as he wanted, but it came to Kozlov anyway. Kozlov curling around behind Ovechkin at the front. Lost it off his stick. Chopped along by Adams, flipped along further. Might be an odd man rush. Max Talbot brings it ahead. He's got Dupuis with him. Feeds it across, and it's blocked back by the defense. Might be an odd man rush the other way. Brought on by Kozlov and given to Fedorov. Plenty of Penguins back now. Kozlov a shot, and it's steered high by Fleury. And Scuderi steps by to settle things down for the Penguins, but Guerin lays this pass on ahead. Talbot trying to get by. Puck whacked out there by Poti, and Talbot kept going. Worked one along, hoping for Cook. To a side scrum. Played back by Cook to Talbot again. That one is cut. Started back ahead and laid on now by Light to Steckel and back in. The very trustworthy Caps this time, but it's brought back by the Penguins and Bill Guerin. Guerin crosses, delays, and feeds a little pass. Gonchar ahead. Gonchar backhanded one just away from Crosby, and it went through the crease. Guerin dealt it back in deep, and Crosby has it there. Beats one out in front, and the shot deflected away off of Kunitz and blocked by the defense. Worked on now by Crosby. Around goes Kunitz. Coming in, though, with a big rush is Kennedy. Hands on to Orpik and across to Gonchar, and a shot went wide. Rebound, Crosby. Belted there by Urchina. Kennedy able to delay and play it on back to Gonchar again. This is like a power play. Orpik a shot, and that one blocked. Thrown back on by Poti. And out of play, and they rule a deflection, so no penalty. Chopped ahead away from the reach of Cook. Sent across now for Fedorov. Funded ahead, Fedorov, good protection, fed it on across, and Kozlov had to turn. Has Sloan nearby, laid one in front, hoping for Ovechkin. Nothing developed there. Cook ahead, directed back in by Stahl, and then it's lifted along by Sloan. Directed back across, and Sloan was covering there. Carried back up by Ovechkin. Ovechkin the shot, deflected high by Scuderi and taken, and eventually outletted onto Kennedy. Moves back up and drops it onto Stahl. His shot is blocked high by Varlamov. Stahl tried to finesse to the front, and he's run to the ditch by the defense. So on comes Orpik. Pothier is the one who did the work on Stahl at the crease. Fleischmann feeds. Shot by Semin. Blocked high, and everyone looking, but Orpik came up with it. Away from the reach of Green. 11 and a half to go. Working hard as Malkin, and he came up with it. Shoved off a bit. Played back along by Sikora. Got into Gonchar for a blast, and it went wide. Flexed along by Orpik. Oh, did he ever get crunched? Grabbing at his face. Might be a 2-on-1. Brought back ahead now by Semin. Semin with a shot. Save. Fleury. Rebound. He dives out. The net's dislodged. And out of all the confusion, Fleury's got the puck.
Well, if you went back a couple of minutes, Talbot and Dupuis had a 2-on-1 for Pittsburgh. They don't get a chance. They don't get a shot. Not the case here for Washington. Green was able to free the puck up in his own zone. Semin jumps with speed through center ice. There's your 2-on-1. When the pass is taken away, you get a pretty good idea from the Domino's goal cam exactly what Fleury was dealing with. That's a gifted goal scorer in a primary to shoot the puck, and Fleury takes away as much of the net as possible and calmly holds his ground.
I wonder how the camera's doing. Looked like it had a pretty rough ride, didn't it? Here's Green, slugging one behind, hoping for a favorable bounce. Gets it from Big David Steckel. Ohio State product, fed it on through Light. And it's Letang dumping one ahead. Bill Guerin slowed that one down. Swung it ahead, but it's controlled by the defense up to Steckel. Dropped off now to Matt Bradley. The one-time Penguin played it back in, and Letang is there. Flicks it behind now for Eaton. And back ahead, directed across. And wedged as far as center on the direction of Kunitz to Crosby. Crosby and Guerin and Kunitz, the front line for the Penguins as Guerin moves in. Chopped one wide. Challenged enough by Ovechkin and Pothier that he didn't have much of a shooting angle. Kept alive and backhanded in by Scuderi. Turning with it is Kunitz. Penguins in the midst of a change. They get Stahl out there now. And Stahl comes in to dig this puck free. Outletted to center. Crunched off was Ovechkin. Peeling through all the traffic is Hal Gill and hands it across to Stahl. Stahl's shot is deflected out of play. 10:07 to go in the third. And it would feel really good. An old Philadelphia defenseman, Ed Van Impe, always says you've got a whole career to pay a guy back. He did did pay a few back before he was done. Here is Sloan, leaving now for Pothier, rips it ahead, and it careened off of Kozlov. Punched ahead and settled down by no one in particular. Scuderi gave it across to Gill, directed back in by Stahl again. Kennedy comes to the bench on a change. Max Talbot is out there now for the Penguins. Little pass ahead, goes all the way on goal, and Fleury tends to Scuderi. A change for the Capitals now. Urchina is out along with Poti on defense. Brought back ahead by Malkin, gaining the zone and twirling, giving it on to Fedotenko, glides around behind. Malkin knocked down, penalty coming up against the Capitals. Fedotenko drifted it behind. Malkin run into there by Urchina. Interference is the call. Lifted back along and down. Interference is the call on Urchina. With 9 minutes to go in the third period, game 2 best of 7, a 2-2 tie. The Penguins on the power play. They have a power play goal already tonight. And that is noteworthy because their power play had gone sour. Steckel a shot that went wide, bounced on out, and Steckel was the one who got there as it went underneath Gonchar, who did recover. But it's Morrison playing it back safely to center, and they can fan it out a bit here. Green makes them chase again. Gonchar and Letang, Malkin and Guerin and Crosby. It is Guerin laying it back in. Morrison and Green, the defense for Washington. Backstrom is up front. Also out there is Brooks Laich, who was able to get that one away from Crosby and clear it back. Eight minutes to go. 50 on the power play. Off of Poti's stick, on goal and held by Varlamov. We just alerted the Virginia State Patrol, I think.
We'll stay within the rules. It's about discipline, Doug.
Is indeed. Okay, recoiling on this power play. The Penguins, 35 to go. Laid across and off the stick of Sikora. Trickled back in again by Stahl. Played by Poti and out of play, but on a deflection. The face-off will remain in the Penguins' offensive zone.
Well, Washington, when they're able to get the puck out of their own zone here in this penalty kill situation, it appears that Pittsburgh needed to regroup with a little bit more speed. I'm not sure if the fatigue with their top players was an issue here, but when Gonchar had the puck, not enough speed generated by the forwards in the counterattack, and it's made it an easier penalty kill for Washington.
We mentioned earlier, and it was one of those things of many that I hadn't thought about, and that is Gonchar playing so much and then having to go back on so many clears like this one. Oh, and Kunitz, was he ever hit by Pothier? Puck to the boards, and Kunitz recovered to put it off the short glass and then duel with Laich. Oh, down to the ice went Steckel, and off the ice will come a Penguin, and he's upset. His name is Malkin, and he'll sit.
Power play opportunity goes by the boards for Pittsburgh. Unable to generate really any kind of quality opportunities with the man advantage. And now it'll be Washington's turn. A puck up for grabs along the wall. Malkin comes in. He's trying to corral that puck with his skate. But by doing so, was guilty of the trip. Jordan Stahl, the duel with Backstrom for the faceoff. Salmon is out there. Also, Fleischmann and Ovechkin left side to Green on the right to Ovechkin and drive. Score! Well, why is Alexander Ovechkin so wide open? Watch the inside circle. The face-off win by Washington. Cook crossed that lane to be able to get out, take away this pass to Alexander Ovechkin. He's not allowed to do it. He felt he was interfering with, felt he had the opportunity to be allowed to skate that area of the ice. Not going to win the argument. And what an advantage for Ovechkin. All that time for close proximity for the one-timer right off the face-off with the man advantage. No chance for Marc-Andre Fleury. Ovechkin gets the Caps the lead with a power play. Max Talbot going with Kelly Sutherland.
Maybe very much under control, wanting the next call for the reasons that you gave just a moment ago. But Ovechkin has gotten his second of the night, and it's the tiebreaker. 4 seconds after the power play began, it ended. Sloan lobbed it down, and it's whipped in for Gill. 6 3/4 minutes to go in the third. For the first time of the night, a Capitals lead. Pothier turns and lays it back ahead, and they can moot her out. Fedorov laid it across to Ovechkin again. Crosses now, denied by Letang, shifted back the other way. Letang moves up and takes the pass from Fedotenko, trying to get by Green. Boom, to the glass he goes. Taken to the outside, Fedotenko, a rising shot, and it goes out of play. Letang shaken up by that booming check in the corner.
That came from Mike Green.
Guerin laid it back. Rushed on near Kunitz. Took it away from Light. Gave it on for Crosby. Double teamed there. Puck came back out and Gonchar dug it free. 6:05 left in the third. Off of Morrison, it goes deep. Green there. Knew the hit was coming from Guerin. Another one on Steckel by Kunitz. Kunitz trying to dig it out. Help came from Crosby. Crosby twirling with it now. Forehand shot went off the outside of the cage. Bradley starts it back for the Caps. Shift change for both teams. Fleischmann and Backstrom are out there with Semin. Cody playing in back with Jurchina. Malkin is out there along with Sikora and Fedotenko. Finesse free by Fleischmann. Outmanned by the Penguins. Fedotenko took it, gave it to Malkin, and a shot is blocked down by Varlamov. Scuderi has it now. Lifted it on to Malkin. Back to Scuderi. Drive, and that blocked in front. Poked away. And Semin can come up with it and clear it back down. Short of icing. Another shift change for both teams. Long toss ahead to Malkin. Pitches it on the backhand, and then he's mashed by Ovechkin. Away from Fedorov. Stepping up on the play and keeping it alive, they say no. There were times when he was so quiet as a player wearing 66. When his team trailed, very coolly it changed. He tied it. Ovechkin, a shot, he scores! A hat trick!
He can elevate his team and he can ignite the crowd. None better than this goal right here, Alexander Ovechkin. A one-on-one. This is something Dan Biles was talking about. How good the Capitals are one-on-one and what it does to your defense. It causes breakdowns. It causes defensemen to have to back in. This is Gonchar trying to handle Alexander Ovechkin. The quick lateral movement and the ability to put the puck in a shooting position while he's moving laterally and putting pressure on the defenseman. And before you know it, the puck has been released. It's a rocket. It's over the glove. It's under the crossbar. Hat trick tonight. First career in the postseason. Alexander Ovechkin. Wow. You saw among the fans a man mentioned earlier by Christine Simpson. The loudness of this crowd has to do, in some cases, with the availability of tickets. Leon says the mastermind of that, and cheering his group on tonight. A thundering ovation, 18,273, and Alexander has indeed been the great.
A little over a 3-minute delay. To the Penguins, it probably seemed like triple that. Fleury hangs on to this puck. A 2-goal deficit for them now with 4:29 to go.
Yeah, Doc, and just to finish that thought about Backstrom and Ovechkin, you can reunite them on the power play, which is what they do. So you can still have the magic and the combination and the chemistry between them on the man advantage, but you're doing your team a service when you're able to move players around, and when you have the skill level of a Backstrom, of a Fedorov in the middle.
Like a shot, and that one blocked and started back out by the Penguins. It is Guerin. Shot went off the leg of Morrison. Then on to Steckel. It is with a 2-goal lead that this group comes right out there. Bruce Boudreau trusted them when they led the Hershey Bears to a championship in the American League. He was there as coach then. They arrived here a little bit ahead of him, and some have been brought up since. That trustworthiness continues as you are seeing them out at a very crucial time. They're hoping to take a 2-0 lead in this best of 7. Gonchar, a little over 3.5. Orpik bump. Be interesting to see. Normally, Gonchar is out there on power plays with Letang, but he got really belted by Mike Green. Disappeared down the runway. I count 13 at the bench, so he is still missing. Quite a duel between Semin and Orpik, wasn't it? Fedotenko went down, and so did Gordon. Malkin brings it on, lays it ahead for Peter Sikora. Back to Malkin, shot one that was turned aside by Varlamov. Fed around in front and into some skates, but corralled and thrown back out by Semin, and he is flexing his hand, I believe, and hunched over as he comes over to the bench for a change.
He got chopped pretty good.
Malkin tried to feed one through. Kozlov turned it back out. Sergei Fedorov glides back for this, but Eaton is able to punch it by. Taken by Malkin, fed off Sikora, and back in. 2:25 to go. The deficit for the Penguins is 2. The fly is back to Hal Gill. A 2-goal deficit. Is there a difference in time for pulling the goalie?
There is. You have to be more aggressive getting your goaltender out early.
Crosby drubbed one, and Green got it. Morrison able to fly it right back out again. Every toss like this brings a standing ovation from the crowd. More time off the clock, under 2 minutes. Orpik back in. Jurchina back to play. Stahl battles there. Guerin comes by. Net empty. Crosby goes down. There'll be a penalty coming up. It'll be against the Capitals. The draw, but it is won by Boyd Gordon and flung down the ice wide. So Gonchar with Sikora and Malkin and Guerin and Kunitz and Crosby. Malkin arrived first. Second was Kunitz. 2-a-side battle again. Reaching in, it swept on back to the point, but could not be settled down by Gonchar. Reverses back onto the guy who sent it to him, Crosby. Shanked off Steckel. Kunitz drops it. Big drive by Guerin is deflected up into the crowd.
Pittsburgh needs Malkin to step up his game, Doc.
Indeed. He's out there now. This is flex to him. Crosby is nearby. Fed on back to Gonchar, then to Malkin again, then to Gonchar. Gonchar to Malkin, one-timer, getting a piece of it, Varlamov. Malkin delays again, 45 to go. Given back to Gonchar, then to Malkin once more. Steps and sent one across the net mouth, blocked by the defense and played off the outside of the cage. Green working for it there, out in front, Crosby didn't get it home. Another try is blocked by the defense, hacked into the air, and they score!
With 30.4 to go, persistence by Crosby at the net mouth. And there was some contact with Kunitz and Varlamov. A little shot to the head. Green didn't like it. Green started getting tied up with Kunitz, and that kept the play alive. There's that cross check by Kunitz. Now Green's bothering with him. The puck's still loose. Crosby with that great hand-eye coordination.
There's no quick Crosby. This isn't one chance. It's not two chances. It's almost the third or fourth swipe at the puck by Crosby, and he's finally able to bat that puck home.
One hat. Apparently the ploy worked. One hat to celebrate the hat trick of Crosby, but there are probably many more guardedly being thrown in homes and businesses around Pittsburgh.
And a well-used timeout by the Pittsburgh Penguins. They needed to get a breather for their top offensive guys that were going to play the final minute plus, minute 30 or so, and they got 30 seconds to try and tie this thing.
At the hash marks is Fleury. Hasn't come on yet for reasons that you can tell are obvious. Possession of Urchina. Dropped back in by Malkin, and now here he comes to the bench. They go with 6 attackers trying to tie it up. Kunitz jabbed it along. Fedorov threw it back out. 13 to go. And this could be icing. It is. 9.8 to go in an offensive zone face-off for the Penguins.
Fedorov trying to lay this puck out through the neutral zone, all the way down into the Pittsburgh defensive end. Certainly didn't want this puck to get to the goal line to create the icing. Now you got a critical face-off here with just less than 10 seconds to go, regulation.
Crosby entered this series the best face-off man in the league.
Take liberties if you're away from the puck. Block people.
Laid back down. Hustling back down is Bill Guerin. Reaches it, but no icing. And it is 2-0 Capitals.